everyone, and welcome back to another episode of We're Watching Star Trek, the original series. I am, for the 30th time, Brandon, and we are still here with Paul.
Yeah, what's up, people? Yo, let's get it. Last episode of the season. I kind of decided to finish it up. Let's see how it goes.
And Dan, you're around here somewhere, I think?
I believe I'm here, but I'm not quite sure. But let's do it anyway.
Weirdo.
Yeah, we're gonna go on through because we are covering the last episode of season 1, which would be episode 29, called Operation Annihilate. Paramount Plus has the original air date listed as April 12th, 1967. All other sources say it was April 13th, so I don't know who's right. I went back and checked, and they've been wrong for like 5 episodes, I think.
And I watched the wrong Operation because I watched Operation Dumble Drop.
Oh yeah, you're gonna have a rough time with this one then. What a terrible movie! Oh my god,
Dumble Drop. Wow, you reference the craziest thing sometimes, guy. I forgot about that movie too.
Now I'm pissed that you made me remember it.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay, so once again, I am without English subtitles for this episode. I don't fucking know why. Yeah, I don't know why. It's annoying. It's really stupid.
Man.
But it starts, as they almost all do, with the Enterprise moving through space, and Uhura is just letting Kirk know that she has not had any luck contacting the planet Deneva. And so Kirk tells her to just try he's like, gives her some specific transmitter numbers, and she's like, well, this is a private transmission. And he's like, sure, this fuck is. Give it a shot. So basically, they're making like a private phone call with their ship.
Yeah. Star 67?
Yeah. Yep. You could call her 1-800-COLLECT, I think.
Payphone days.
And then after that, they're going to dial the 1-900-909-9900, which is the number that Mean Gene always told me to call the WCW hotline and see what's going on in the wrestling world. 1-900-909-9900.
How old are we again?
So Kirk goes over, he asks Spock, he's like, hey, why do you think we can't contact this planet or anything? And Spock just starts talking about a really weird thing. Like, apparently there was this mass insanity event that wiped out a string of planets, and Deneva was next in line. And apparently they knew this whole thing was going on, and just like, they're just now talking about it.
Yeah, or just not getting into it or whatever.
Eventually.
Or maybe Spock is the one, maybe Spock just noticed that, like, oh, this has been going on by different civilization. But here's my issue. A question about this. Okay, so I'm looking at the star chart right now. Are they completely that many light years away from each other, all these planets, or they're all in the same solar system? See, if there's like a different galaxy far away, maybe they don't know, and maybe they're just not finding out.
I don't remember if they said it was different systems.
When they were going over the timeline, it went from like 200 to like 50 to 15 years to like, hey, it's going to happen within the next 5 minutes.
Yeah, they're talking about how many years apart it is. So I'm assuming that, 200 years from now, they will forget history and then something going on. So maybe they started putting pieces together after all this time, something's going on. I'm assuming.
Right.
That's what I kind of thought.
Yeah, maybe like they're just looking at the reports and he's just starting to piece that together.
Yeah, and I couldn't tell if they were sent there or if they just, Spock figured out so they went some strange, so they go there. I didn't really get that in the whole episode. Maybe I missed it.
Yeah, I don't think they ever said specifically why they were going. We just found out they were going and they couldn't get a hold of them. Yeah, so I don't think they ever said.
Yeah, I never watched it again to figure it out. I thought I was like, are they there because Spock discovered something, or are they there because somebody asked for help?
Yeah, I think they're just fucking, maybe they happen to be in the neighborhood or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
But McCoy is there, and he states that there's no medical or scientific cause for what happened on those planets that had the massive insanity event, and that Kirk is like, well, there's obviously at least a definite pattern there.
They got a hold of Scotty's acid.
Yeah, everybody just, that shit lasts for like 15 years. Just have like a 15-year trip.
Going insane.
Yeah. And so Sulu pipes up and he informs them that he's picking up a ship that's headed directly into the sun. And so Kirk is like, well, fuck, we got to go stop that. And so he orders them to intercept it at warp factor 8 and try to stop it from burning up in the sun. And he tells Uhura to try to contact it. So Spock takes a look and he says that the ship is just a one-man vessel and that it doesn't seem to be out of control. It really seems to be just kind of beelining it for the sun. And Kirk wants Scotty to use a tractor beam to try to stop it, but it's out of range. And then Uhura actually manages to get a hold of the ship. And Kirk talks to him and asks if they can reverse course to not run into the sun, but they don't get an answer back.
He's like, just turn slightly to the right. You'll miss the sun completely.
Yeah, just a listing lazily. I guess that would be to the right, not to the left.
Yes,
because he doesn't know the maneuvers. That's the issue. He doesn't know some maneuvers.
He doesn't know some maneuvers.
Yep.
That guy's got skills.
Yeah, yeah. So they're just watching on their screen, and the ship just continues to fly towards the sun as Spock gives the readings for their own outer hull. He's like, "Hey, it's getting a little hot in here, and it's getting increasingly hotter in here."
Yeah, I like that. By the way, when Spock was doing that, as they get closer and closer, it kind of keeps you engaged. Like, hey, the closer we get, so you get the information. Like, oh, closer, because the hotter it gets. So, like, we can't save this guy, and you kind of can see why.
Right.
Yeah, I like that all the information they give you in this. I thought it was really cool.
I just once again I feel bad for like the lower deck people because they're just chilling. They're like, hey. Is it getting hotter in here? Like, what's the deal? they just like start
looking no idea what's going on.
I still haven't watched that. I still haven't watched that show yet. I need to watch it. I know.
Oh yeah, yes you do. Yep.
I believe season 3 is about to come out for that. By the way, well, it might be past tense when this comes out, but for you, Paul, season 3 is coming up.
Yeah,
I know.
For us in the current time, yeah, it's coming up pretty soon. So yeah, while they're watching on their screen, they hear the pilot of the other ship actually communicate, and he just talks about how he's finally free, but then he burns up into the sun, so he wasn't free for very long. I guess he's free eternally now, though, I guess.
Free is free.
He's crispy.
Yep. Yeah. He's extra free. So, so Kirk just orders them, like, hey, we need to get the ship out of here before we burn up, and then they decide to head to Deneva. And while they do that, Kirk is just wondering, like, why the fuck did that happen? Like, we've seen a lot of weird shit, and that was just really weird. And McCoy thinks that it's possible that the insanity has finally reached Deneva. So, Uhura announces that she is still trying to get a hold of Deneva, and she can't. And Kirk's like, yeah, it's cool, just keep doing your thing. Which is really all that she gets to do in this entire season, or this whole series so far. Yeah, try to call people, can't get through. Okay, keep trying. Like, that's her whole fucking role.
No, actually, she was on the planet for that one episode.
Yeah, one episode, yeah.
Yeah, one episode she's on the planet to help out.
Yeah, and he's just like, keep trying to call. So McCoy approaches Kirk, and he's like, hey, isn't your brother Sam and his family, like, aren't they still on Deneva? And then we get that kind of like, dun, 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 and we get the show opening. Yeah.
And I was hoping, I put family drama down on my thing, hoping it'd be family drama.
Right. Which I always pictured Kirk as an only child. He has, like, that only child attitude, I feel like.
Oh, no, I think he has the big brother attitude of where I'm going to figure it all out. I'm in yada, and I got you no matter what.
Did they ever say if he was the older or younger brother?
I'm not sure.
No, but maybe. I think they referenced his brother before in like one of the earlier episodes.
Did they? You might be right. Maybe I just forgot. It's been like 9 months of recording this, so I have forgotten quite a bit.
I'm not sure, but Kurt seems like an older brother. He don't seem like a little brother.
Yeah,
like he don't have a little brother attitude, so I feel like he'll be a big brother.
Yeah, you're right. He does it. Yeah.
Well, you know what Kirk doesn't have that his brother has?
A wife and kid.
Wife, yeah.
Well, no, I was gonna say a mustache.
Oh, mustache.
Well,
okay, yeah.
That's the first thing I was gonna say immediately. Like,
yeah, he didn't get the facial hair genes.
Come on, Kirk probably has a whole litter of kids across the galaxy.
Yeah.
First of all,
actually, to be fair, Sam doesn't have a wife and kids anymore either. But we'll get there.
Oh my god. Okay. I didn't say that, to clarify.
But I did notice though during the show opening, because whenever they play or they put the title of the episode on screen, if you have subtitles on, they also, if you have subtitles of a different language on, they put the title of the episode up there as well. And this one in Germany was called Spock Out of Control. So it's a slightly different title than Operation Annihilate.
Oh, okay. So you've been using different language subtitles in?
Well, yeah, because they didn't have the fucking English one. So, and I got to try to pick out like planet and people names and shit.
Oh, okay.
I guess I could have just Googled it, but yeah, it's actually, you know what? I saw that and it's close enough that I immediately went, oh, that means Spock or like something similar to like Spock Out of Control. And I looked it up and I was right. So it was similar enough, but I'm sure there are a million German words I would not understand. So yeah, we come back to Captain's log, and he's just talking about the mass insanity event, and Spock and Scotty are telling Kirk about how Deneva was originally a freighting line planet that takes supplies to an asteroid belt for miners, and Spock says that planet hadn't had any Federation contact for over a year. So Uhura finally gets in contact with somebody, and they hear just a woman asking for help over the intercom, and Kirk knows her as Arellin, which is a weird ass name. Like they could have just called her like Kim or something. But I guess,
Laura.
Yeah, I guess Arellin works.
Well, even Uhura's a weird name. This whole show is that they want to give people like real original names. Like Spock is a weird name. Uhura. I mean, all the names on here are really kind of original. So I'm assuming there's nobody named this now unless they're named after the show.
Yeah,
literally.
Well, they can't let you forget that not only is it in space, but it's also in the future. So apparently,
in the future they have strange names.
Yeah, just weird ass names
like Apple.
Yeah, you think that when Arillin went to school that there were like 6 other Arillins because that was just the name at the time?
The name. Like me being Paul, the 35 Pauls, back then, like, oh look, Arellin. No, not you, the other one.
Yeah, and I've only ever met one person in my life named Dan, so that's not a common name at all.
Well, I'm glad to be the only one.
Yeah.
There you go. One of one.
Yeah, so Kirk knows her as Arellin, and he tries to get her to repeat her message, but they end up losing contact. And Uhura apologizes, and then Kirk just fucking snaps at her, and he's like, well, I'm not interested in your excuses. Like, you need to get contact back immediately. And she's like, look, motherfucker, I can't because they stopped broadcasting a signal.
I like that she pushed back.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, because Kirk was being, straight when I couldn't even understand. Like, he got real mad for no reason.
Yeah, he was pissed. But good for her for sticking up for herself.
Look, she hung up on me, like how you hang up on us.
Yeah. And then she fucking ripped her phone cord out of the wall, so I can't get a hold of her. Like, what do you want?
That's funny.
Yeah, so McCoy asks Kirk if he knew who the woman was, and Kirk confirms that his brother and family are actually on the planet, and that the woman that they heard sounded like his brother's wife. And then we go to a little bit later where Kirk and McCoy and Scotty and a couple other people are getting ready to beam down to the planet, and Spock comes into the transporter room and tells Kirk, hey, Uhura still can't get in contact with anybody. He's like, you want me to smack her around a little bit? And he says that his sensors show that there are humans on the planet, but they are strangely quiet. So Spock joins the group, and then they beam down to the planet.
Right here, though, this is the first time I noticed what a yeoman's job is, actually. All the episodes we watched, I always made, like, jokes about a yeoman, but they're literally like a court stenographer. They're literally there to record the mission, like what's going on during the mission.
Right.
So they almost do like a captain's log while they're doing it.
Yeah.
I kind of didn't notice that. And it's still only a female job, by the way. Only females, attractive females too at that.
Well,
I've just
felt it's really weird that, like, it makes sense that you need somebody there recording that stuff, but they... Like, literally anybody can carry that fucking recording device. Do you need, like, a non-combat person to go into a potentially hostile area with you?
Yes, that's one of my general questions about it. Now that I'm watching Yeoman more and more, I'm starting to like what they do. Literally, she sits there and records everything going on, and that's kind of it. I don't know. I guess maybe it was a show thing. They thought about maybe this is like diversity. They're like, okay, well, we got to have a female on the team somewhere. We can't have all men. Let's come up with a female job. Oh, female job. Oh, secretary. Wait a minute. Secretary next. Oh, like they kind of just, because even though like the show is amazing and it's very wide and like very inviting for different races and different inclusion things like that. At the same time, it does fit a lot of stereotypes in a way on accident because of the times.
Right. Yep.
So maybe that's why we're never going to see a female captain probably in the show ever. There's no way. Well, it's very rare to see a female in charge situation. I don't think
human also kind of takes care of Kirk also. Like, we've seen her, bring him food or coffee, or like, hey, you need to go to your room to get some sleep.
Yeah, it's just kind of like an aide.
It's almost like a personal assistant plus secretary plus a recorder plus like all the
love interest
language, the bitch work pretty much of the whole, literally. So no,
I'm glad to see Kirk has jumped from blondes to brunettes finally.
Yeah, he diversifies,
Yeah, He like everybody. It's Kirk. Come on now.
Yeah. The one thing that I noticed, though, was that when they do beam down to the planet, we get this shot of, like, the transporter console. And I don't think I've mentioned it before, but I fucking love the set pieces in this show because there's so many, like, lights and switches and, like, all these buttons and shit, and not one bit of it is static. Like, it doesn't feel like it's a set piece. It all feels like all of that does something. So, like, I don't think I've given enough praise to the people that designed the set and, like, built that, because for something being in the 60s, like, I bet you could probably walk onto those set pieces today and still think, like, God damn, those are really nice.
Yes, that's one of the things. That's one of my season. When I wrap up the season, we do a season wrap up. I'll talk about a lot.
Okay. So yeah, they beam down to the planet and they notice, hey, ain't nobody down here. And Kirk notes that the planet's got like 1 million something people on it, and there are 100,000 people at least in the city that they're in, and he just wants to know where the fuck everybody is. And Spock says that they are all in the surrounding buildings. And so Kirk points to one of the buildings. So he's pretty sure his brother either lives or works there. He doesn't say. He's just like, yeah, my brother's there. And they start to head in that direction. But then this group of dudes with batons and different colored jumpsuits just start running at them and yelling shit. And they're just like, hey, get out of here. We don't want to hurt you. Get the fuck out of here. And
but we're going to beat you up if you don't leave.
Yeah. And so, like, they just start running directly at Kirk and his crew, and Kirk's like, fuck this, fire. And they shoot them and just absolutely fuck them up. Like, just drop those dudes, which was hilarious to see. So, after that, Spock notes, he's like, man, their attitude was really inconsistent with their actions. Like, they were telling us to leave, and that they don't want to hurt us, and then they're just fucking chasing us with pipes. And again, we come back to Jet Li in the one where he's beating up that cop in the hallway, and he's like, I don't want to hurt you.
I don't want to hurt you.
I don't want to hurt you. And he's just beating the fuck out of him.
I love that
this
movie,
hurts me more than it does you.
Yeah, exactly. Then he like bends the shotgun and throws it at the pop machine. But Bones just starts scanning the people with a scanner, and he notes that even in their unconscious state, they're still being violently stimulated. And then they hear a woman scream. So they're like, all right, let's go over there. And they start running in the direction that the scream came from. And they enter.
Shatner does this terrible run, by the way. I hate his run so much. Oh, my God.
Yeah,
he looks so
great.
terrible running.
Who's
run? They got to fix that. Hopefully season 2 and 3, his run looks a little more authentic. Like, he looks like he's, I don't know. It looks a little awkward. That's all it is. Everybody else looks fine. He looks awkward running.
Yeah, Kirk not a big runner. He has other people run for him. He's like, I feel like going for a run. Mr. Sulu, do 5 laps. So yeah, they enter a room.
Leg day.
Yeah, I mean, God, we all do. Fuck leg day. But they enter a room where 2 people are laying unconscious or presumably unconscious on the floor, and Kirk finds his sister-in-law, Arellen, is screaming about just people like just being there and like a general there. And McKirk's like, well, fuck this. And he just gives her a shot and renders her unconscious. And so Bones and Kirk talk about the people on the floor, or Bones asks Kirk about the people on the floor. And Kirk's like, yep, that one's my brother. He's Sam. And he's fucking dead. So.
And this is when I first got pissed off with the whole episode. What a waste of a character.
Yeah.
Like, why bring his brother without using him for something?
Right,
because like you could have used this character to really do something and even make his death even more impactful or something like that. Like, you kind of just do it because like this could have been anybody. They could have been just came to a planet, and it could be anybody on the planet. I didn't feel like it was his brother. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no connection to him at all.
I agree with that.
Yeah, no connection to it at all. Yeah, so I'm like, why would you even mention it was his brother? Like, you could have made it anybody, and then it had the same impact that it has now. I would have saved his brother's death for something else, or I would have put it in the episode and have his brother try to kill him something, and then he had to had to kill his brother or something, or had to stop him, or some kind of interaction, so I can see something about their brotherhood. I know nothing about the brotherhood, so I don't even care about this guy that's dead yet.
Yeah, and that's the thing.
I thought it'd been more impactful if they would have established like a past continuity with
no childhood story, no memory, no story to even tell Spock about them growing up. Like, I got nothing for this relationship, so I feel like it's really wasted in this episode, and it's a waste of a character. I mean, the episode itself is something else, but I mean, this particular point of it, I think it's really a waste of a character that you could really use to develop Kirk and the relationship with his brother in a better way.
Yeah, like a
Agreed.
1 or 2 minute conversation between Kirk and Sam would have. It could have potentially had so much character building for Kirk, like to let you see a side that we haven't seen. And
while he's in pain or whatever, or they could have just made if they're going to keep the woman alive, they should have made that the sister,
right?
And then made his real sister instead of sister-in-law, because even though people want to say this out in the world, whatever, but in-law impact is way different than actual blood a lot of times,
right? Yeah.
So he's caring for it the whole episode, but I'm not feeling that kind of connection when he's trying to talk to her or whatever. So I feel like if it's the actual sister, maybe it'd have been like something better too. So I don't know. I know going a small rant here in the middle of it, but I just think this.
Well, no, you're 100% correct. Yeah, you're dead on.
A waste of that. Well, there's so much better way to do it.
Even the nephew feels wasted in the scene also.
Right.
Well,
I know I agree with what you're saying, Paul. Like the whole his brother, his wife, and his nephew they don't have that impact that they should.
Well, a lot of times he refers to his nephew as his brother's son instead of nephew too.
Yeah, he's like, fuck that kid.
He does think time. Yeah, he said my brother's son like multiple times. I'm thinking, dude, that's your nephew. Like because even the term nephew itself implies he's mine. Like brother's son implies it's something else. So like even the words they used in here was like non by like, oh, that's my nephew. Like I didn't feel like he even cared about this kid like that. So like even not saying call somebody like, oh, that's my brother's son. No, that's my nephew. That matters too.
Yeah.
Oh, that's my cousin. Like those little small things, whatever matter. And I feel like this whole part right here, they wasted opportunity to make some kind of connection that felt like he cares. There's no really caring here. So
no,
small rant. Kirk, go ahead. Go ahead, fellas.
No, even with like Kirk's reaction to it seemed kind of like cold or almost uncaring that his brother just died.
Yeah, not a moment of like that's not a tear, not a moment of just give me a moment, a scream or something and be fine. Like something that lets you know that he's hurting inside. Something. Yeah,
like if he would have like thrown something or just like obviously he wouldn't swear, but like fuck, like
punch a wall.
Man,
it's some kind of something for a split second. But okay, he's hurt, but he's bottling and he knows what he needs to do. I didn't feel that, so
right.
Yeah, well, it's because none of them are his ship, so he don't give a fuck about them.
He's so used to people dying, like, oh, it's just another day.
Yep. Just another corpse with a good mustache. So, but yeah, as we talked about, the other person unconscious on the floor is Peter, his brother's son, and Spock tries to console Kirk for a second, but Kirk just wonders about the they that Orelin was yelling about. He's like, yeah, no, it's cool. I don't give a fuck. I've wanted him dead since the day I was born.
He's like, there's a mystery going on, and that's all I care about.
Yep, that's it. And Spock points out the vent on the wall that Orelin was hanging out by and how it's covered up, and he says that they were obviously trying to keep something from getting in, but that they weren't successful. And it's like, yeah, no shit, the corpse on the floor will tell you that much.
Like, obviously they weren't successful. I don't need that. I don't need that line, sir.
Yeah. And Kirk says that their sensors didn't pick up any harmful life forms, and Spock confirms that yep. And he says he is at a loss to understand what's going on, which is happening to him more and more lately.
As we get further and further out in space, the laws of physics and things like that aren't applying. So his intelligence is his way of thinking is getting wavered. He's
still just reeling from that rock calling him fucking dumb. He never recovered from that.
You insignificant fool.
Yeah. McCoy approaches and says that he's ready to beam everybody up and that he wants Kirk on board when Orelin regains consciousness. And so Kirk leaves Spock in charge and prepares to beam up. And then we cut to a little bit later on the Enterprise where McCoy is talking to Kirk about how Peter and Orelin are in extreme pain. And he managed to tranquilize Peter, but Orelin is proving to be resistant to the tranquilizer that he used. So Kirk is like, now is a perfect time to go and talk to her. And he goes and tells her, he's like, oh, hey, my brother's dead, but Peter's still cool. And he tries to get her to tell him what happened, which he's really fucking bad about that. Anytime anybody's had like an accident or is close to death, he just wants to go have a fucking conversation. Like he does not let anybody rest.
Like I need everything. Tell me everything before you die.
Yeah. And she says that horrible things were brought from visitors on a vessel from planet Ingram B8 several months, or B, not B8, Ingram B 8 months ago. Punctuation matters. And she says that the things made the crew bring the ship and like the whatever life form made the people from Angram B8 bring a ship to where they are now, and then she just starts to like scream out in pain and has all this issue, and McCoy comes and pumps her full of more drugs, and he says that whenever she starts to answer questions, it's like she's fighting to get the answers out. It's like something is exerting pain to stop her, which is pretty similar to the neural neutralizer thing.
Yep, pretty much.
So she says that the things use pain to control them, and that they're using humans to spread, and that the creatures are forcing people to build ships for them. And then she just like screams out, and then she just fucking dies right there.
I immediately thought about they all got venom symbiotes.
Yeah, I thought about that too. Yeah.
I thought, oh man, he got symbiotes. I thought, oh, that's not good.
Yeah.
like for 2 seconds, I was like, oh yeah, symbiote. I was like, oh man, oh damn.
No, it turns out it was just like uncooked chicken breast was all that was.
Which will also kind of kill you.
Yeah. Yep.
Yes.
But I mean, at this point, at least, I was really into this episode. I was like, fuck. Like, I forgot I was watching Star Trek for a moment. Like, it was just a really good premise, really good scene. And so Kirk.
Yeah, I enjoyed it a lot. I'm in, at this point, I'm way into it.
Yeah. Actually. So Kirk beams back down to the planet, and Spock reports that they haven't seen anybody else, and so Kirk asks if they've seen any aliens or anything, but they haven't. And like, well, Spock's like, yeah, I've looked in the mirror, like I'm a fucking alien.
Well, when they said aliens, the xenomorphs from the Alien movies popped in my head. Like, hopefully those aren't down there.
Yeah, just fucking.
They don't have Ridley Scott with them. That's a very good
point. Haven't seen any aliens down there. They use the word alien? Is that what he said too?
Yeah, they've been using aliens like the whole episode.
Spock is alien. I didn't even. I guess Spock is so like part of the crew so much we don't realize he's an alien sometimes.
Well, fuck, none of that crew is from that planet. They're all aliens.
Well, that's a great point. Well, I think another point is, have we seen anybody? Random question. Have we seen anybody else on this ship that's not human?
No,
we've seen human, one Vulcan. That's it, right?
Well, we've seen everybody. I mean, everybody looks like they're human, so I guess like maybe one of them could be not human. They just look like a human, but no, like they have not. Yeah, we haven't seen anybody that's not obviously not human.
Yeah, I'm hoping they do that in the future. I know other shows they kind of have a lot more diversity. You know, when it comes to like different planets or whatever. I'm just curious if they ever do that in the show. That'd be cool.
Yeah. Although, God, I imagine like if they had to put them in a fucking suit, it would probably be terrible because their suits have been like their creature suits have been.
Yeah, but they're awesome though. I love random rant. I love terrible CGI. I love terrible movies, and when they do that, that makes me laugh and makes me smile because I know how bad it is.
Yeah, you just want to see the burnt pizza monster crawling around the fucking Enterprise.
No, I want to see my negative zone that you hate on so bad. More my negative zone fights.
Negative filter spinning burnt pizza monster just fucking crawling around the corridor.
Oh my gosh, I will lose my mind. I'll have the best episode ever right there.
Paul, your supervillain name will be from Spider-Man, Mr. Negative.
Mr. Negative?
Yep.
Mr. Negative.
Just throw the spin on there and you're good to go.
I'm ready.
Yeah, so Kirk or Spock says that they were just about to investigate a strange buzzing sound that they hear, and so they say fuck this and they set their phasers to kill and they go towards the sound.
Well, normally you don't want to go towards buzzing noises because normally they're bees.
Yeah, and fucking like I bet space bees are terrible. Probably like the size of
absolutely
a Volkswagen
car.
Oh my!
Yeah,
I never even thought we haven't seen space bugs yet. I don't think anything really.
Yeah. So, yeah, they enter a building and they look around and Kirk finds some the creatures on the wall. And this was where I had my note that they look like uncooked chicken breasts. Like, that's all. That's all they look like.
Oh, that's the joke you were making a second ago.
Yeah.
Now I get it. I thought you were making reference because Venom was eating chicken breasts in the movie.
Oh, well, yeah, there's that too.
Oh, okay. Now I see what you're saying. Now that you mention it, it does look like that. I didn't even think about it actually until you just said that.
Yeah, and then the fucking surprise of my life, one of them starts flying. It's just like wee, it just like fucking starts flying around, and so they try to shoot at it, and I think it's Kirk hits one with a really like he's just fucking laying on the trigger of this thing, and it falls on the floor, and they all just fly away. And I don't know why, but the sound this thing makes and like the visual of it flopping to the floor is just fucking hilarious to me. I don't know why. It's just like slaps on the floor.
Oh, it's terrible. It's a terrible prop creature.
Yeah.
I don't care.
Yeah, it's not great.
I love it.
Yep. So Spock goes over and he scans it, and he says that not only should this thing have been destroyed, but it doesn't even register on his tricorder. And it's, again, we kind of hit that thing where it's like, no fucking shit. Like, you haven't seen it before. Of course, it's not in your library of shit. Like,
but I think that you think, but it's, oh my God, can't talk. Wow. So he's saying it's not registered on his tricorder. Does not mean it's not in his library. Like, that's two different things.
well, I thought the tricorder has access to all of the ship's memory banks, and the ship has access to the internet.
But I think the tricorder can't register it as in, like, it can't even recognize it's even there in the first place. Not that it can't know what it is.
That makes much more sense. Okay.
Yeah, the tricorder can't realize it's even there at all.
Okay. That makes sense.
I thought the tricorder was kind of like the Pokédex.
No, I think so. Tricorder it registers whatever's there, and then it'll let you know what it is. But if it can't register what's there, it can't tell you what it is anyway. So the tricorder itself can't recognize it. Something's even there to even register to even record. I think that's what they're referring to.
Yeah, I think that's. Yeah, I think you're right. Now that you mention it that way. Yeah, I looked at it as it's scanning it and can't find a reference for it in the database, but no, it just can't find the thing at all. It's not there. Like, he's just scanning fucking air at that point. That makes more sense. So they talk about this thing for a minute, and Spock is like, well, it'd be a great idea if we took this on the ship. And so Kirk just suddenly goes, what I think is that we've entered a trap here, and we should probably leave. So they turn to leave, and then the one that they shot gets up, and it flies and attaches itself to Spock's back, and he just starts fucking rolling around. He's like, just fucking rolling around. And so Kirk just grabs it with his bare hands and rips it off of Spock's back. And then we go to a commercial break.
This is literally Nimoy's, like, one of his favorite acting jobs in this episode for me of the whole season. By the way, I like everything he does in this episode. Even when he acts in pain, even when he acts like he's fighting his own thoughts, like, I think all of it's really clever. Right?
Oh yeah, he's solid.
Oh, he was definitely the star of the episode.
Definitely. Yeah, I really appreciate him in this episode.
Yep. So yeah, we come back from the commercial. We get a Captain Zog explain the situation, and McCoy is examining a puncture wound on Spock's back aboard the Enterprise. So they actually have him like he's on an operating table, and Spock keeps waking up from the anesthetic, and McCoy thinks that something inside of him is fighting the anesthetic. So we get to see Nurse Chapel again, which is cool, and she points out that Spock's readings are really weird, even for him. McCoy is just like, all right, fuck this, we're gonna close this wound, and Nurse Chapel doesn't think that's a good idea, but McCoy gets a little pissy, and he's like, yeah, you should close this fucking thing, or find me somebody else who will. So she's like, all right, shit, I guess we'll do that.
Yeah, I think it's not very often we see Bones aggressive like that.
Right.
But I think because it was like only Captain Kirk or Spock can question his medical decisions without him getting offended.
Yeah.
Like if you're not Kirk or Spock, and I'll tell you to do something, either do it or move on. Like, you notice that I kind of noticed that about him. How and he and at the same time, like he'll take their advice and jokingly say, "Yo, I don't need your advice because it's medical advice," but he'll still listen to their advice,
right,
and what they say. But everybody else, nah, he don't care about that.
Yeah, but here he's like, I'm the one looking in this guy's fucking spine. Like, you don't see what I see, close this shit. So we go a little bit later, and we're on the bridge, and McCoy just takes a jar to Kirk that contains a piece of living tissue that he removed from Spock's spinal cord. And he says he removed the same thing from Orellan's body, but Peter is too weak for him to try. He's like, oh, I really want to cut that fucking kid up. But he's a little too weak. wait for him to recover a little, and I'm going to get him under that knife.
You're like, Kirk is the only family member that's still alive. You have to give the okay for me to operate on him.
Yeah, he's next of kin. And he tells Kirk that Spock's body is just full of these tentacles that he pulled out, and that they're entwining and growing throughout his nervous system. And he says that Peter's body has the same thing in it. And he explains that when the creature attacks, it leaves a stinger that takes over the victim very rapidly, but the entwining is far too involved for conventional surgery to remove. So basically, like, Spock's just fucked at this point. And Kirk asks for a recommendation, but McCoy says that he's stumped. He doesn't know what to do here. So we go back to the sick bay, and Spock wakes up and just fucking storms off. He's like, well, I don't need to be in here. He fucking leaves. So
he annoyed.
Yeah. So Nurse Chapel calls the bridge to tell them what's going on, and Kirk issues a security alert and orders them to use phasers on stun and restrain Spock if necessary. And as he's giving this alert, Spock just fucking bursts into the room and just starts fucking tossing people around like they're nothing, just throwing them across the bridge.
Yeah, I'm enjoying every moment of it too.
Oh, absolutely. This is what I wanted to see, is like Spock against just normal ass people, and he's just fucking toss them. He's just like a robot, and he's trying to take over the ship. They like start to wrestle with him and try to hold him back, and he just about nerve pinches Kirk, but Nurse Chapel shows up with a tranquilizer, and they manage to subdue him for the time being.
It only took like 4 or 5 of them to hold him down, but yeah, they got it done.
Yeah, and he was just like inches from pinching Kirk's shoulder.
I was a little worried that Bones was going to stab himself again, though.
Oh, yeah, just goes on another fucking drug trip. He's got that same shit, just injects himself again.
Whee!
Travels through time. So they take him back to the sick bay, and they restrain old Spock, and McCoy shows Kirk a reading of Spock's pain level, which is a really weird thing that they can measure in the future, apparently. And Spock wakes up, and he says that his restraints and that the tranquilizer are no longer necessary, and he apologizes for trying to take over the ship, but he says that he's a Vulcan, and that pain is a thing of the mind, and the mind can be controlled.
Which is an amazing quote by him once again. I can imagine they got monks out there that are able to hit drills on their head and get stabbed with stuff and not feel any pain. So, like, as he talks about these things, they all make sense logically. They're not like an insane idea. So,
yeah,
I really like it a lot.
Yeah,
true. But Kirk's counterpoint was pretty good, also. What about your human side?
Yeah, so Kirk asks him about his human half, and Spock says that it's proving to be an inconvenience, but it is manageable. And he says that the creature is pressuring him and that it wants the ship, but that he's resisting it. So if he has like that Doc Ock moment, he's like, listen to me now.
Listen to me. Oh, that's right.
Spock's just after the precious tritium. That's all he wants. He wants the power of the sun in the palm of his hand.
The power of the sun.
Yep. Which, fuck, they used it. Anyway. So, yeah, McCoy and Kirk are talking about whether or not Spock can really control this thing that's taking over his body, and Kirk decides not to take any chances, and he wants to keep Spock confined for a little while longer, which I think is the right play.
I don't know, because it's one of them things where, do I trust Spock? Yeah, I trust Spock. I'll let him go. Yeah,
but like, what if it's just the creature controlling Spock to say, hey, yeah, I got this thing under control?
I think Kirk made the right decision. I don't know what it is about Spock when it comes to things of the mind. I trust him in that situation.
Yeah, I mean, he's proven to be impervious to everything else.
Because then a couple minutes later, you trust him anyway. And about less than 5 minutes, he'll come back and you'll trust him in 2 seconds anyway. So 5 minutes later, you trust him more than you did 5 minutes ago? That don't make any sense to me.
Why didn't they use heavier restraints on Spock, knowing how strong he is?
Yeah, no shit. Like, break out the metal ones or something. Like, fucking.
It's like right now you don't trust him, and in about 5 minutes you're about to trust him because you're going to let him do his thing. So what changed over the last 5 minutes?
Right. And then they tied him down with Twizzlers on that bed, so.
Yeah.
Got out of it anyway.
So that's an act of trust too. It's like, yeah, so it's like everything you did was like kind of small, trustworthy, but for the big thing, like, I don't really trust you. Like,
right.
It's a little weird.
Yeah. So Kirk goes to leave the room, and he asks McCoy if his nephew's going to go through the same thing, and McCoy is just like, yep. And he reminds Kirk about the other colonists on the planet. He's like, look, I mean, I know like it sucks for your best friend and it sucks for your nephew, but you know, there are 1 million people down on that planet, and they need our help as well. And then they both leave, and Spock is just over like in the bed trying to like fight for control of his body and his mind. And then he just breaks free of his restraints and just leaves. He leaves the room. When are they going to stop fucking leaving people in these rooms on like by themselves? Because every single time they get out, every time.
Wasn't the nurse in there this time or not? I don't remember.
No,
she was gone.
Yeah, she was. Yeah.
Oh, she was in there the first time, not the second time.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. So old Spock goes to the transporter room, and he orders Scotty to beam him down to the planet, and Scotty refuses. He's like, look, Kirk said nobody's going down. I ain't letting nobody go down. So Spock attacks Scotty, and he nerve pinches the other engineer that was in there with him. And then Scotty is just like, fuck this, and he pulls a phaser, and he calls Kirk. It's like Scotty is always strapped, like all the time. He's fucking ready to go at the drop of a hat.
Dude, Scotty had a moment here.
Oh, fuck yeah, he did. Dude, he's like, look, dude, like we're not fucking doing this. Like he fucking pulls out like dual phasers. He's just ready to go. He's got like an ACOG on one, like a laser sight on the other one. Like he's just fucking ready to go.
You know, Spock had respect also just to stand there. He did not move.
Oh, because he knows Scotty will pull that trigger. He's like, look, I'm strong, but I am logical, and I am not fucking with this dude. Like I've seen how he is. Like we don't know what he's hopped up on. He might shoot me for the fun of it.
Yeah, he might be have some of that Scotty acid again.
Yeah. He's just over there fucking huffing those chicken breast looking things. Scotty attaches those to himself for fun. They start to spread in his body, and they're like, whoa, we are not staying in here. Like, there's too many fucking drugs in this guy's system. We need out of this.
They just fall over dead. Like, what happened? Oh.
Yep.
They couldn't handle the drug level.
Nope. So it's just a few minutes later, I assume, and Kirk and McCoy and a few security morons enter the transporter room. And Spock is like, look, my pain is gone. And Scotty says that he decided to hold Spock until Kirk gave the okay to let him leave. And Spock says that one of the creatures has to be captured and analyzed. And he suggests that he should be the one to go because his nervous system is already compromised. And McCoy's like, no, it's not really a good idea. But Kirk decides that it is a good idea. And he's going to let him go down to the planet. And he asks Scotty, he's like, give your phaser to Spock. Which... is this what you were talking about, Paul, when you're like, he's just going to trust him like 5 minutes later?
Yeah. That's probably about to say something. Let me finish that up. Yeah. It's like, it's been 5 minutes, maybe 10 minutes. I mean, and he already, trust you. You talk to him, you trust him right afterwards. So the trust is already there. So there's no reason even not let him go in the first place. I'm not sure how we got here 5 minutes later.
Yeah, but I mean, the situation changed slightly. Like, he did bring up a good point that they do have to capture one of these things, and he's already compromised, so it might as well be him. But yeah, at the same time, it's like, again, what if it's just the creature saying this shit and it's just trying to get down to the planet?
To get on the planet to get things.
Yeah, what if it's trying to bring them up to the ship to capture everybody?
Yeah. Yep.
Well, one of Kirk's weaknesses is sometimes being too trustworthy.
Yeah. Especially to Spock.
Yeah. I think if Spock ever betrayed him again, because they did betray him in the one with the Captain Pike one.
Yeah.
Like if you ever betrayed him, like for real, I think it's always harder on Kirk because he trusts him so bad. So I want to see how their friendship develops over the seasons and episodes or whatever, about their trust and how they feel about each other, things like that.
If they don't get married by the end of this series, I'm going to be very upset. They're very close.
It's the brotherhood.
Yeah. So Spock thanks Kirk for trusting him, and then he gets beamed down to the planet. And Kirk and McCoy leave the transporter room, and as they go through the corridor, McCoy argues about Kirk's decision, but Kirk says that look, they both know that Spock, yes, they both know that Spock is the logical man for the job, and really McCoy can't argue with that. So we go down to the planet, and Spock is walking around, and he gets jumped by this dude wielding like some kind of pipe with like a big circle on the end of it. And the guy like smacks Spock's hand, and so Spock loses his phaser, and then we go to a commercial break, and we come back, and the two are still just standing where they were. And so Spock just ducks the guy swings at him with a pipe, and Spock ducks it and uses the nerve pinch on the guy, so it was not really all that suspenseful to begin with.
Very, very, very odd place to cut, by the way.
Yeah, it was really weird.
Very, very odd. Like, particularly for a show that does leave you hanging with a cliffhanger. Yeah. That's not very cliffhangery.
Yeah, no, they come back and the guy just gets his ass kicked. Like you didn't think that wasn't going to happen to begin with.
Yeah, so it's just very, very weird, honestly.
Yeah.
I kind of wanted to see Spock like kind of like lose his shit and just like start going all Batman style on the dude's face.
Oh, dude, I bet he rips limbs off.
I think they missed opportunity here too for that too, where like the creature controlling Spock or whatever. Like I wish he would have said "I'm a Vulcan" more, for the dumbest reason, like self reassurance that he's gonna make it, like make it through, and like I can get through this pain. Because every once in a while they kind of recognize the pain, but you don't really see it. Like, you don't really see how painful it really is.
Right.
Because I feel like it's probably really, really painful. But they don't do a good job on screen of showing that pain he's going through. You know, they do it very subtly.
That's actually a good callback to one of the earlier episodes where he was reminding himself that he was a Vulcan when he was getting all emotional.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, an episode.
So,
yeah.
So yeah, I agree. That would have been good for him. I would have liked that also, of him reminding himself like who he is. Like, hey, I'm a Vulcan. I can do this.
Yeah, because I feel like I was like, I know he's in pain when he went to get the creature, but that was that whole part wasn't even very suspenseful in itself. Like, I didn't feel like he wasn't going to make it. I didn't feel like he was like really in pain. I felt like he was getting like almost like he's bothered a little bit, and he went. And it was really easy for him to get that creature. I thought him getting that creature should have been a lot harder. I don't know why.
Yeah.
Like, I thought maybe more should have came at him and buzzed at him, or maybe they talked to the other people on the planet and they could like oversee him. Because you got to think about it. They're going to establish in a second or two that they're all linked. They're all part of a link of one creature, right?
Yeah.
So why can't said link understand what the other people are doing? So why aren't they able to talk to each other and see what Spock is doing? Always going to get one of us to study, because they're saying that they're part of a whole organism and they're communicating. That's how they work. So I can understand why they couldn't. I'm not sure how to communicate. Why they couldn't communicate that they were in danger and that Spock was coming to get them while Spock has one of the creatures inside of him.
Because they only have 50 minutes and the good guys need to win.
I know it is me being deep how I get in things, but I just thought that it was kind of. I thought they like missed like little loopholes here and there in the way they were making his creatures,
right,
or whatever.
Well, they had like a hive mind, so that's actually a fair point. Because when they first landed on the planet, the four guys that were going to attack them were all on the same page.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I thought that once Spock is infected, why can't they have all his memories and all his stuff, what was in his head, to be able to understand how the other side works or whatever. I don't know. I just, me being me.
Yeah. So yeah, he's just feeling the effects of the parasite, and he goes over and picks up his phaser and continues on his mission. So there was really no reason why they even should have had him get his phaser knocked away to begin with. And he goes back to where they were first attacked and finds more of the chicken breasts there. And he shoots one of them with his phaser, and they make this like ridiculous fucking sound too. Like it's just like a squeal. And he grabs it with this tool. It's weird, like clear claw.
It puts it in a toolbox.
You know,
yeah, and
with no gloves
on. Says in my note, Dad, he puts it in his toolbox that he brought.
Yeah, regular toolbox and a plastic clamp.
Yep.
Okay.
Which, I mean, honestly, do you need much more than a toolbox? Because it has a little lock thing, and what's that thing going to do about it?
I have no idea. I don't know. Maybe, who knows? Can the creature breathe inside there?
Right.
I don't know. It was just funny how it's like dated. That's one of them dated references to toolbox. I found it funny.
It's the future. They should have something a little bit better than a toolbox.
Yeah, like a Tupperware container with a snap-on lid or something.
I might have been able to accept that if it clicked closing. Yeah, that might have been
Put it
better.
in a fucking Ziploc bag. Anything, really.
Since this is a science experiment, put it in a Tupperware container. Wouldn't sound that crazy.
Yeah. Yep. So yeah, after he puts it in the toolbox, we cut to a little bit later, and we're back on the Enterprise, and Kirk and Bones, they join Spock in a lab, and Spock tells them that the creature, this is where we find out that it's only basically a single cell, and that it resembles a huge individual brain cell. And so Kirk is like, oh, that must mean that like it's just one cell of a larger creature, which is a great fucking concept. Like, that's an awesome idea. I don't think I've ever heard that anywhere else.
I have, but that's more like dated.
Okay.
It's more recent stuff like that. So like, I assumed that when this came out, probably was the first really cool idea like that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess I took it more as like, it's not so much as a hive mind thing, but that they're all like, if they all form together, they would just make like a big fucking brain. Like, they're not an individual thing at all. Like, it's one piece broken up into a bunch of different pieces. But yeah, I guess it could also be a hive mind thing.
Okay. I get what you're saying.
Yeah, because right here, Spock talks about how it's still part of the whole creature, despite not being physically connected to it. So like, it's not that it's all separate things that all, communicate with each other. It's it's literally a single piece of another creature, and like if they were all to get back together,
they broken into a bunch of parts, spread out, and then
they're like
they may come back together.
They're like Power Ranger Zords, and how like they all get together as the one big one, but then when they spread out, well, I guess it's not like that at all because they're still separate when they spread apart. So it's a very, very bad example.
Yeah.
But anyway, so Kirk he's fixated on this the ship that flew into the sun, and he thinks that maybe that could hold the answer to their problem. And so we cut again, and a little bit later, McCoy and Nurse Chapel are looking at their captive creature, and Kirk walks in, and McCoy says that he's tried various temperatures and radiation, stuff that would turn Spock and Peter into ash, but the creature still is just not dying. And Kirk is very upset with these results, and he goes on this rant about how they have like all these different science labs, and they need to figure this shit out. And he says that they can't let it spread beyond the colony, even if it means destroying 1 million people there. And then we go to another commercial break, which was like seriously 2 minutes from the last one.
Well, Kirk has a fair point, but also, how long have they been working on this problem? A whole 10 minutes? Like,
right.
Give them a sec to figure it out.
Yeah. I assumed it was a lot long. I assumed it was a pretty long gap because I could tell by the little edit. I just thought, but I thought that if they did a captain's log, something like that, give you an idea for how long it's been. At the same time, I didn't even consider Kirk destroying the planet until this moment.
Yeah.
I didn't even think about it. I was like, oh, yeah, I guess technically, destroyed this whole entire planet. Stop the spread.
Yeah.
Man, but that would have been hardcore if they would have just blown up the planet just, to save the whole the whole galaxy.
They started the whole planet?
Yeah. They're like, hey, Peter, we're going to send you back home for a minute, and then just like beam him back down to the planet, just fucking wreck it.
Remember that toy you like? Yeah.
Don't worry. I thought it was weird that they had a commercial, like 2 commercial breaks almost back to back. Like I don't even think there was 5 minutes of show between those commercial breaks. That was really weird.
Very weird. Yeah. I understand what you're saying. There's a very bunch of odd edits in this one.
Yeah. But we come back from the commercial break with a captain's log, Kirk just recapping current dilemma that he has, and the main crew are having a meeting where they talk about basically weighing killing the entire colony versus trying to figure this out. And Spock agrees that it is a logical conclusion to kill everybody on that planet, even though it means that he will need to be killed as well. And McCoy obviously doesn't agree with that, but Kirk is like, look, like I don't want to do that. I want to figure this out, but you guys can't. He's like, there has to be a third option. Like there has to be something that we can figure out here.
Which I'm glad Kirk. I'm glad Kirk just didn't be like, all right, I'm gonna commit mass genocide, even though Spock's on board with it.
Right? Yeah, he knows it's just like the very, very last option.
Yeah, if Kirk didn't make a decision like that, it would be the last line of the episode, literally.
Yeah,
he'd be like, that episode would end, and it would be episode end right there.
Yeah,
that'd be impactful.
Yeah, that would be a really good ending to an episode.
Yeah.
So, a little bit later, Spock and McCoy enter Kirk's office and tell him that they still don't have a solution. They cannot figure out any way to kill this thing. And Spock requests permission to beam down to the planet and to take Peter down there with him, because he's like, fuck it, we might as well just go die. And Kirk denies his request. And so Spock's like, please let me go. I really want to die. I fucking hate it here. And he says he doesn't know how much longer.
I can't take you humans anymore.
Yeah, I'm tired of this shit. It's the same thing every fucking week with you guys. And he says that he doesn't know how much longer he can hold out against the pain. And Kirk just denies his request again because I think he does secretly hate Spock and he likes seeing him in pain. And he brings up once again, he's obsessed with that ship that flew into the sun, and he says that there has to be something with that, like that has to be a connection there. So Kirk he's like, hey, like what properties does the sun have aside from heat? And Spock just goes listing off like, radiation stuff and gravity stuff and all this, and then finally Kirk is like, well, you missed one big thing, light. Like maybe the creature is sensitive to light. So McCoy says, well, he's like, you can't move the entire planet of Deneva closer to the sun, but Kirk and Spock think that you could bring the brightness of the sun to Deneva. And has McCoy never heard of a flashlight? Like, for God's sakes.
Yeah, but I don't think I don't consider a flashlight as bright as the sun, though.
Yeah, I mean, there has to be in the future.
Oh, you think it could be like a super, like you turn on a flashlight and the whole planet lights up?
Yeah. You
let the whole block on fire. Cut your flashlight off, man.
and there's probably like a fucking
blinding me over here.
There's an infomercial that plays at like 11:30 p.m. where you can get one of those, and if you act fast, you can get like a second one for free, and maybe like a belt holster for it.
Two, for the price of one.
Yeah, and if you pay using your Visa credit card, we'll give you a holster for your belt to hold your fucking sun flashlight. And that has to be a
sun flash.
Did anyone else in their head hear Billy May saying all this?
Yeah. So Spock comes up with a plan to use satellites around Deneva, and McCoy details his plans to test the theory on the creature that they've captured, and then they leave to get started, which I really enjoy, that they're both like, all right, I'm going to do this, like I'm going to go do this, and then they just go do it. So we go to the lab, and they have the creature in this chamber. They place it in a chamber, and Spock explains to Kirk and Bones how the whole thing's going to work. And the three of them and Nurse Chapel, they put on some weird... They're supposed to be like goggles to save them from the light, but they're clear. They're not like tinted in any way. And
they look like snowboarding glasses, actually.
Yeah, it's like if you get in your car and it's really, really bright, so you're like, I need to put on my sunglasses, and then you just put on regular glasses. Like that's what they did.
This will do.
Yeah.
As the glasses wearer, I would like to clarify that there are lenses that have clear films on them that block light.
That's true.
So you don't need the tinted part.
But do they block the light of the sun being in your face, like a few feet away?
They do in the future.
Okay,
because
that's fair.
They're allowed to do that.
That's fair. It's future tech. Yep. But we just talked about a flashlight as bright as the sun. So why the fuck wouldn't there be glasses? I can't argue against it. Yep. You use my own logic against me, you bastard.
Yes. Spock it out, baby. Spock it out.
So they put their masks on, and then they turn on this really bright light in the chamber, and then they switch the light off after a few seconds. They go inside and find that the creature is dead, and McCoy's fucking pumped about it, but Kirk is like, well, all right, how are we going to use this on people on the planet? And he thinks they need to try it on someone that's already infected. So of course Spock volunteers, and McCoy offers to rig up a pair of goggles for him so that he doesn't go blind from the light. And Spock refuses because the people on the planet don't have that option. So he wants it to be the same for him right here.
Which makes a lot of sense, by the way.
Yeah, that's very fair.
Like logically, it makes sense. Like, I wouldn't have thought about it until you said it. I was like, oh, okay, cool.
Yeah. So they all agree with this, and Spock goes and gets to the chamber, and McCoy and...
Wait, hold on. My issue with what they're about to do, they're not even going to give it 5 minutes to think about, what happened when they tried it on the piece of chicken looking alien.
Yeah, I have a few issues with this that I'll get to when my notes come up. But yes, you're 100% correct. Like you're right where I am on that. So like McCoy and Kirk close the chamber door, and they put their goggles on, and McCoy notices that Kirk is pretty worried about what's about to happen, and he tries to comfort him by telling him that he's like, it's all right. Like Spock is the best first officer in the fleet. He's going to be fine. And so Kirk tells him to go ahead and proceed, and they switch on the lights, which poor Spock in there has no clue it's about to happen. Like, they don't give him a fucking countdown, no warning or nothing. They just flip on the fucking lights.
Yeah, but it's also weird that why are they wearing glasses, and then why is the light outside, right, along with the light inside the damn thing? Like, why would it...
Yeah, why wouldn't they cover that so none of the light gets out and you don't have to wear the glasses?
Yeah, why would you even... It's like it got bright outside and inside. I'm a little confused there. It doesn't make any sense to me personally. It's like, why is the light outside shining as bright as the sun? We only need the light in the inside of that damn room to do that.
Right, yeah. That's a good question. But after a few seconds, they turn the machine off and they open the door, and they find out that Spock is okay. And he says that he's free of the creature and that he's also free of the pain. And he gets up and walks out of the room, and he just like bumps into this table, and he's like, well, shit, I'm also free of my eyesight because I am fucking blind. But
yeah, I mean, that's the first thing I would have said. Like, yo,
right.
So small issue here, guys. I'm feeling okay, but I can't see shit. Like, that's really, I said, y'all can't see.
a little blind here.
Yeah, I can't see. Like, what? I'm curious, but I can't see. Like, I'd have been a little more,
a little more upset. I wouldn't have tried to walk out of the fucking room, that's for sure.
Yeah. like my eyes ain't working. Like I don't know. It's funny.
Yeah, but he.
Well, I figured he just got Daredevil's powers and he was able to see anyway.
Oh yeah, yep. It sees everything through like sound waves.
Also,
well, he's got the ears to to make that work.
That's true. He does.
Echolocation.
Yeah.
one thing about Spock though, also, I'm being a little over about him not saying nothing, but I feel he wouldn't panic though. He would be like, "Okay, I'm blind now. Deal with it."
Right, and he very calmly, he's just like, "Yeah, that's a fair trade. It's like creature's gone, but I can't see anything, and that seems fair."
Yeah, he was okay with that. Yeah, so like, I was very Spock to be like, "Oh, I'm blind, but give me 5 minutes, I'll figure it out.
Yeah, and then Dan, here's where we both had this issue: is that then Nurse Chapel walks in and hands Bones the test results from their test on the creature. And Bones is like, well, shit, we didn't need to use the full spectrum of light. Only one type of light was needed. And why wouldn't they wait 5 minutes?
5 minutes.
Yeah. And Spock, of all people, I feel like he would have been like, yeah, it's really logical that since we just did this test, we wait to see the results before we do a test on a person.
Yeah, like it's very backwards, particularly when Kurt's always thinking about the person themselves first.
Right.
Like, why would you do this to Spock without having test results to find out what you need?
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense at all for not one of those people.
So now technically, you done blinded our boy for no reason.
Yeah.
And there's no countdown in this episode. Like, oh, hey, in 15 minutes, if we don't cure everyone's just going to die. Like,
yeah, the one fucking time they needed to put a time limit here, they didn't do it. I've been bitching about that the entire series. So this whole season is the unnecessary time limits, and now they have no time limit and they do everything wrong.
Yep. This one needs a time limit.
Yeah.
It's funny.
So Spock explains that the creatures are sensitive to light that humans can't see, much in the same way that dogs are sensitive to sounds that humans cannot hear. And Kirk is like, he's really pissed off. Like, he's very mad that Spock is now blind. And
did you feel like he was kind of mad at Bones, though?
Yeah, I that's the thing is, like, he knows, I feel like he knows it's not Bones' fault, and it was hard to tell if he was pissed off at Bones or just pissed off that they fucking blinded Spock for no reason. It just, yeah, like, all of them. He's like, we were dumb. Like, we did this really wrong.
Yeah.
But Spock says it's all right, because he's like, hey, it's partially my idea. Like, I volunteered for that shit. It's not Bones' fault.
Well, that, and I'm sure the Federation's got some good health benefit for him, so he's like, oh, I'll just be living on an easy street.
Yeah, but they could probably get him new eyes in the future, right?
No, that's true.
I'm assuming they just get an injection or something. I guess some kind of pill. Who knows?
Yeah.
I mean, let's be real here.
Yeah.
They've been all over the galaxies. I'm pretty sure they got something for blindness.
Yeah.
This guy go find a Gary Mitchell and be like, hey, cured his eyes.
Yeah, give them silver eyes. Yep. So then we get a scene that's really, really out of place here, because it's the remastered edition and the CGI still looks fucking terrible. But I feel like it probably looks worse than it looked without the CGI, where the Enterprise is dropping these ultraviolet satellites around the planet, and they start to energize these satellites, and that whole thing looked really weird. That CGI was terrible.
I think actually, I don't think CGI looks bad. Actually, it looks so good. It looks bad.
It looks out of place.
That makes sense?
Yeah, it looks very out of place.
It looks out of place, yeah. Yeah, out of place. So that's why it looks so bad. It looks so much out of place. I think that I would have kept the old one. Whatever the old one was, I bet it was better.
Yeah, I think that's fair to say.
Because it fits. Yeah, it sucks when it's like 70s, the green, and all of a sudden it's like, 90s, 2000s, like CGI is better. Right. And it's really off-putting. That's kind of like how how they did Star Wars. When Lucas did the whole remastering thing and added that scenes that later on, and they look weird because they're too far advanced with the CGI.
Yeah, exactly.
So it just looked out of place. It looked very, very weird.
Yep. But they energize these satellites, and on the planet, the creatures start dying off from the ultraviolet light. And
fried chicken.
Yep, that's my note says the chicken breasts are getting cooked. and somewhere some big creature is getting real fucking dumb, because these are basically his brain cells that are getting fried. So
that's a good point.
So Uhura reports the messages from the ground that confirm that their plan is working, and Kirk calls McCoy to have him tell Spock that their plan is working, that everything's working out fine, and then Kirk tells him, like, he tries to console Bones. He's like, look, it's not your fault. Like, these things happen, but McCoy's very upset and he doesn't respond. So then Kirk sends him this text message. He's like, yo, bro, why are you not responding to my messages? And he doesn't respond to that either, just leaves him on read.
Just to have one of those very thoughtful moments to himself.
Yeah.
Which was actually kind of nice because it showed the impact of how Bones took the whole thing.
Oh yeah, he's pissed at himself. Yeah. So we go through a little bit later, and Kirk is dictating a report to a yeoman as Spock and McCoy walk in, and of course, I fucking hated this so much. I hated this so much. McCoy explains that since Spock's optics aren't the same as a human, the blindness was only temporary. And Spock is like, yeah, due to the brightness of the Vulcan sun, we've developed an inner eyelid which acts as a shield against high-intensity light. And he explains this as kind of like involuntary instinctive reflex. And I'm just like, a fucking course, dude. Like, they could have had... They could have had an entire fucking episode about trying to do something to get Spock's sight back. But no.
Yeah.
Because they don't have to, because he's fucking perfect and he's impervious to everything.
Well, the bigger issue with that is when they go through the test, Spock can be like, hey, so on my planet, Vulcan sun, if he said that earlier, before it happened, like, hey, Vulcan sun is brighter, so there may be a chance that I may not get blinded, if yada, yada, yada. Like, if he mentioned it beforehand, it'll hit us a little bit different. Like, oh, okay, Vulcan's brighter, so it's not so bad. Now you mentioned it later on, it's like, oh, it's just a reason, like, it's like, give my sight back, let's come up with a dumb reason. Oh, here you go.
Yeah.
Well, I kind of like the little joke he made about, his inner eyelid that protects him is kind of like, the human spleen. You just kind of forget about it.
Yeah. I thought it said the appendix.
They tried to cover it up with that comment.
What's that?
Didn't he say it's like the appendix or some shit?
Oh, appendix. My bad. Yeah, I think you're right. I think it was the appendix.
Yeah, but it still sounded like they had to come up with a reason, like, oh, we better say something or it's going to look some type of way.
Yeah.
Last minute, like, oh, let's throw something in there. Not like...
It was definitely an ass pull, but I guess it gives more backlore to, Vulcans.
Yeah, and how perfect they are.
Yeah, I know it gives a lot of backlore. I mean, it is what it is.
Yeah.
It's not terrible. It's just, it could have been better.
Yep.
Yeah, it definitely could have been better.
Yeah, so Kirk notes that he's talking to Spock, and he's like, yeah, somebody, just regaining their sight, that would normally be an emotional experience for everybody, and he assumes that Spock basically felt nothing, and Spock is like, no, I had a very strong reaction, because the first thing that I saw was the face of Dr. McCoy standing over me. And McCoy says that it's a pity that Spock's brief blindness didn't increase his appreciation for beauty. And Kirk is like, all right, enough of this shit. Like, let's go to Starbase 10. And McCoy goes over and he whispers to Kirk. He's like, hey, please don't tell Spock that I said that he was the best first officer in the fleet. And Spock turns around in his chair from the other side of the room, and he's like, oh, thank you. Like, it's very nice of you to say. And Kirk says that Bones was so concerned about Spock's Vulcan eyes that he forgot about his Vulcan ears. And then they just go on to their next adventure.
Which I actually like how they wrapped this episode up.
Like they made it happen go in, luckily, but I like the reference.
Yeah,
it's nice. It's real clean. It makes you smile.
I just hate that nothing there. We've hit this point now that we're 29 episodes into this, that there's never any stakes when it comes to Spock. Like, he has some bullshit fucking anatomy thing that just saves him from everything. Like, I swear to God, if he loses an arm and then he's like, we actually have the ability to regrow arms, like, I'm just going to be done watching.
He's going to lose his mind, huh?
Yeah, I'm over it. So, yeah. Dan, do you want to start us off with your thoughts on this one?
Sure. Overall, I really enjoyed this episode. My only complaint is I feel, like we talked earlier, they wasted, Kirk's family members without it being more impactful. This is honestly about the really only bad thing I can say about the episode. I liked it.
And I'm just going to say, yeah, basically that. Exactly that. Yep. Wasted his family member. No stakes for Spock because his fucking stupid perfect eyes. And yeah, I mean, I liked it. Yeah, so I really enjoyed the idea of it. And the creatures were really, really fucking weird looking, but didn't look terrible. Even now, there's like a certain element of cheese to it that is like really endearing in this show. If you presented those creatures now, I would be like, no, like, fuck no. But yeah, I liked it overall, and that's really it. Paul?
Okay, so I'm gonna first say I actually love this episode a lot. Like I'm critical of the episode because I see that the episode is good, but I know it could be like an amazing episode. That's why I'm critical. Sometimes I don't like that. And the waste of the family member is the one thing that really annoyed me. Because as soon as I saw that, I thought, oh man, this could be really cool, family drama, etc., etc. And it didn't pay off. Like don't take a family member and mention it if you don't going to pay off, make it a big thing. My highlight of the whole thing actually is Leonard Nimoy's acting. Like everything they have him do, he did. Like even when he was like said, "I'm a Vulcan," you can see his mind kind of switching to fit together pain, his grimaces here and there. Like they almost had it good where you really felt like he was in pain the whole episode, but they just didn't go all the way there. And I felt like they were on the cusp of having this like amazing like best actor, best episode of the whole show if they just could have made the small things references a little better in a way. And I liked it. It's good. I'm enjoying it. I mean, great, okay way to end the season. Not great, but like I think we're spoiled nowadays because a lot of times our season-ending episodes are cliffhangers to the next season.
Right.
And so we're sitting there waiting for 6 months the next year when next season comes out. So it's very interesting to watch a show that the end of the episode is just done. Like it's very interesting to see that.
Yeah, like no fanfare, nothing big and crazy. Like it's just another episode.
Yeah, not like because like Spock, if they would end that with Spock blind.
That'd have been fucking amazing.
Okay.
That would have been a good cliffhanger.
That would have been awesome. Spock's blind at the end, and then season 2, episode 1, we're trying to find out how can we get Spock's eyes back.
Yeah,
some two-part season 2 premiere. They're going to some remote planet, going to Vulcan planet, whatever, to try to figure out how to get his eyes back, and et cetera, et cetera. I mean, that's a big whole grandiose thing, but
right.
I think they have, but that's not really. I mean, that's not really what they did back then. So.
Yeah, but I would have been in favor of that, though. I think it would have been fantastic.
I do got one question, though. What happened to Kirk's nephew?
I assume they cleared him. Or not cleared him. I assume
obviously they probably cleared him, but his mom and dad are dead.
Oh, yeah. So like,
yeah,
I'm glad you brought it up, Dan, because I forgot to write down about they didn't mention him anymore either. That's what I'm saying. Like, that's my issue with the episode. All this really cool stuff, but they really dropped the ball on some things that I feel like are important.
But it's not Kirk's nephew. It's his son's or his brother's son. So no big deal.
His brother's son, yeah.
No big deal.
My brother's. I can't believe you said that. I was shocked, bro. I can't believe you said. I was like, did he really say him? I rewind it like twice. No, he did not say my. Who says that?
Yeah, he's like, it's okay. We'll just drop him off with my brother's mom and then just call it a day.
Yeah, my brother's mom. Yeah, I've never in my entire life. In life and anywhere, heard anybody refer to their nephew as their brother's son. It's always nephew or niece or whatever. It's not, oh, yeah, that's my sister. Like, no, it's that's my nephew. That's what, makes it very, very impersonal. So, I don't know. But anyway, I liked it. Overall, I liked it. Let's clarify that. I'm just being picky.
All right. Well, that does it for season 1. It's been a very, very long journey to get to this point. And
it was fun.
What we're going to do next week is we're going to do just kind of an end of the season, just kind of quick episode. So we're not going to do a full episode. We're just going to talk about, favorites, least favorites, what we'd like to see, going forward. And then we're going to talk about just some stuff with the future of the podcast going forward, like just what we're doing there. So, yeah, as always, it's, Twitter at WWST_podcast, Gmail at WWSTpod.com, or gmail.com. And, so we'll catch you guys on our kind of end of the season wrap up here. Once again, thank you guys for listening, sticking with us through all this stuff. And, we'll see you on the next episode.
Be well.
Later.